You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. We are so happy to have you. Hopefully you are back with us. It's not your first time, but if it is, we are thrilled to have you. This is a great show. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah. And this is always a fun and informational show. And we've always got great guests that are friends of Aminah's that we're just so happy to have here. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and my co-host is backstage, Pet Psychic Aminah. Come on out. Hello.
Hi. You guys have a fluffy collar, and I feel like I should wear a puppy jacket. The way I feel so fluffy now. What a great intro. Thank you. We have so much fun here.
We do. Did you ever watch this show? The Price is Right. Come on down. You're the next.
Oh my gosh, yes. We all grew up on that one.
That's what I feel like when I bring you a come on out, Aminah.
Is that Barb Barker or somebody else?
Bob, well, I think so, yes.
Okay, we got too many game shows to choose from in those days.
The game shows were so popular. I don't know if they still are they?
I don't know. I don't watch enough TV for that that kind of channel. I'm more the educational. I mean, give me Animal Planet any day, and I'm gone. I'm there all day.
Of course, we want people watching our channel, right? But of course, we have to get other perspectives.
Because you have the same problem, or for me, I turn you on, and then I'm like, okay, how do I get anything done? Okay, go listen. No, then turn on while I'm cooking. Then
I know, it's true. I used to try to watch a lot of the shows afterwards with my mother, and I thought I just don't have time. It's just not possible.
No. And I would think you'd want a break from hearing your own voice and your own.
Oh, I can't stand. As soon as I hear the theme song, I'm just like, please. Like I go to the YouTube channel and I have to do some updates on it. And then the song starts playing. Like, no song, please. Stop. I love it, but it's too much,
Stop.
So what's been going on in your world and anything new in the spiritual world?
Oh my gosh, so much. And Doti is going to really be able to talk about that. And she's our guest today. She just a plethora of life experience like me, just kind of born this way. We get asked, I know for me is, oh my gosh, especially because of my heavy leaning in training and years of working with wildlife specifically and exotic animals. From the, I actually put this together as a bio recently of why I'm thinking about it, because I added it to my website. There's so many times I just didn't think about it that people probably want to know that at 9, I'm in Sunset Magazine holding a great horned owl, and 13, I'm doing this, and then these animals find me. I completely forgot that I have the actual original article in college. Everybody's off campus at the end of the day, and I'm walking up going, wait a minute, something's on the ground. And it was a bird of prey. It was in the hawk family, and it was endangered, and it had gotten injured. And so I threw my jacket over it because, of course, I know how to you need to calm them down right away. And that's one of the ways you can do this with birds of prey. And then called the biology teacher over and said, hey, we've got this. What are we doing? And the bird specialist came out to rescue, and they went, do you realize what you have? And I was like, no, a bird of prey. And he said, this bird's highly endangered, and to recover it this way with this injury, it was a foot or a broken wing. It was really catastrophic. And the bird survived, and they were able to re-release. But I didn't ever write it down. So now my website has all this. Who are you talking to? You're not talking to somebody that is just in the psychic world. I am a trained trainer, and I do know a great deal about habitat and weather and where we are. Now, you're going to get me into another state in the United States? Yeah, maybe I'll struggle a little. I'm an expert in my own state and with exotics.
Well, I think that's what really differentiates you from a lot of other psychics is that you are trained and have all of this experience, and you have this incredible amount of passion.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you an update on my plant, Daphne, since meeting you, and I told you I named her and I talk to her every day.
Good.
She's doing very well. So I have to attribute that to you, because I never really thought about talking to my plants before.
and water, sun helps also. You know, things they need. You could talk to your pets all you want, but you don't feed them. It's still going to be a tragedy from there. But yeah, I'm really excited. Dottie and I got to talk this morning, and Corky, and talk about what we're going to talk about today. And she's really going to go in depth on the spiritual side. And I had a run in with somebody. We're not for everybody. You, as what you do, and psychics and or trainers. I am not the right trainer for everybody. I am not the right pet psychic for everybody. I completely own that, because I can do a better job if we're a better fit. Do I know that? No. I leave it up to the people, and truly up to God, to get the right people who call me for appointments. And I leave that in big, higher hands. And
So
we're going to talk about it.
who would you say is your perfect client? We've talked about this before, but just for those, joining us for the first time.
When you end up calling any of us for help, a coach, all of us, you've got to be open to a new answer, because you're obviously not getting it the way you've been doing it. So if you want help doing the same thing over and over and over, you'll probably have the same results. And no matter what your coach tells you, because that's what I am, that's what our guest today is. We are really your support team in your coaching. We're loving the coaching part. So my ideal client has no color, ethnicity, but I will say 90% of the people who ask for my help are female. They're female.
Why do you think that is, Aminah?
I think because we're more in touch with our feelings and are able to ask for help easier. Men are great at tons of things, and I've worked with men primarily, and especially in the fields that I have chosen. Now, they're dominated today by women. You'll see zoos and everybody, they're dominated by the females, but that hadn't always been. When I started out, and of course, when I was young, let me give you an example. I was in the Southern California high desert. Think of hot, like 100 is the daytime. I didn't live in Death Valley, but it was close. And Death Valley is even hotter. So I worked in my first sanctuary when I was 13. My mom was very connected. She knew I had a passion, so I'd already spent a lot of time. When I was about 8, she took me to watch alligators, little Cayman alligators, be fed. They just ripped it apart in live food. And this is what my 9-year-old self did. And I found it fascinating. Most people would say that it's a trauma for childhood. But for me,
what's up with her?
Yeah, exactly. I see the science of it. I see they need to eat. They're held in captivity. They're ripping anyways. So I use that as, this is why I know this is a right fit for me. So I'm in a wildlife sanctuary. I'm the only female. It's all men. It's all men. And these are animals that have been confiscated from Fish and Wildlife, for people who had them illegally. They should not. We had Arctic foxes in the desert. That's just not, shouldn't be happening. And they had them in their home. So we had a wolf, and his back, not his head, his back came to my waist. And I was already pretty much as tall as I am today. I got my height pretty fast. So by then I'm about 5'8", and his back was at my waist. And I'm this otherwise athletic girl. And he said, take it for a walk on a chain. And I'm thinking, well, if he wants to rip my arm off, man, I'm letting him go. He's going across the desert because he's going to drag me with him. But it was a wonderful experience, because this poor wolf had been beat by men over and over. So he couldn't work with any of the men. I had to feed him. I had to walk him, because he saw me as comfort, as a female. Not me personally. He didn't know me personally at that point. But just so you know, there is the same dynamic with animals. They're good, they're wonderful, they're bad. How we get this way, if you're a fabulous athlete, then you train. and you have a passion for it, I hope. We have some amazing athletes. And if you're a special host and you learn you can public speak and really connect with people like you have done, then you go with that. So you now have the DR before your name. It's not Ms. or Mrs. or anything. No, it's Doctor. Come on.
In the house.
Yeah. So I went with my gifts. I love plants. They know I do. When I got really sick for about 6 months, my plants look terrible. They look terrible.
On a future show, we should have some of your plants on.
Oh, there you go, because they look great. They look great.
Yeah, I bet they do. Listen, I want to bring Reverend Doti Boon out, and I want to talk to you both about something. I know you have some topics, but I want to talk about, because you just mentioned this, I want to talk about when people have pets that traditionally are not pets. They're meant to be in the wild, and they decide to have a pet. Like, for example, I know someone who had 2 iguanas in the house, in this. And of course, they dug through part of the floor to get out because they were enormous. So anyway, I want to talk about that, but let's bring on Reverend Doti Boon. Would you like to do an introduction of her?
This fabulous woman has spent her lifetime talking to people who have passed. I have the gift also, but she is the expert. She has seen this, done this. I had a childhood. You're going to listen to our first interview and you'll get all her background. But Doti and I are going to talk about a lot of things, and she's got a really fun topic and something I've kind of asked her to add to that. So let's invite Doti Boon on.
Reverend Doti Boon, come on out.
Hi there. What a delightful day to have both of you here. It's gorgeous in San Jose. How's it where you are, Dr. Jacalyn?
It's raining and it's foggy, but that's okay because I'm broadcasting all day. So
just think of all the plants are getting fed today.
Yes, yeah. Good way to put it.
Yeah, because that's the way.
Nice to have you back.
Acid rain, but it's rain.
Yeah.
We would love some of the rain, and I'm sure you'd love some of the sunshine. We should swap a bit here.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I think the sunshine's coming here. Reverend Doti Boon, we're so happy to have you. Thank you, Aminah. I'd like to I know you guys have topics that you want. I want to just delve quickly on the topic that I mentioned, because I'm hearing more and more of this. Somebody has a pet jaguar. Somebody, what are your thoughts about it? Do these animals that are meant to be in the wild, do they like being brought into a home environment?
I don't want to be cruel, but the answer is the fast one. No. If you were, let me take a cheetah, for example. You did jaguar. They're going to be very similar, but cheetah makes a bigger statement. If you can run 60 miles per hour, just poof, you're gone. Why would you want to sit around in a home all day long getting fed pumpkins fine, popsicles and I don't mean the brand, no offense here, but yogurt or whatever falls off the plate. Animals, dogs and cats and a few others, I'm not going to go through the whole litany, have been raised and bred for human contact. You cannot take an elephant and say, hey, let's hang out in the backyard. That's not what they cognitively need. That's not what they emotionally need. That's not what they spiritually need. It's the same thing that Doti and I talk about with our clients, and she does at church. She'll touch on that she's a pastor, is that you need to go where you grow. You need to go where you are. Why wouldn't you respect? And I ask you to think about it respect the fact that these animals have the right to live free and not to have every single acre commandeered by mankind.
Great answer. And, we could go on about this all day because we could talk about zoos. We could talk about places that have big cats. But Reverend Doti Boon, any thoughts from you?
This is really her bailiwick. She talks to people a little bit and animals all the time, and I'm the vice versa. I don't have any pets. I very seldom come in contact with animals, but I see people every day. So these are the ones.
Again, she sees them.
They don't like to be locked up either, do they?
No, not at all. Right. Yeah, I was doing a reading on a lady just a couple days ago whose husband's been incarcerated for a year, and she was talking about the difficulties you have when a loved one is somewhere they can't get out and they can't talk to you and you can't touch them, and how difficult it is for the person on the outside, let alone the person on the inside. And I get that same feeling when Amina's talking about pets, that they want out, they want to be free, and they want to be able to do the things they want to do. So I deal with the people, she deals with the animals and plants.
And we have done it together. It's really, really special to come on a reading. And Dottie, I'm coming from a very vague memory. Coming on a reading where we helped them in duality, because our specialties were so necessary at that point to say, no, you need more help. She'll take care of that. You'll take care of that. It's like saying, I'm going to call a plumber and he's going to help me with the electricity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not very well. He could do it because maybe he knows pools or plugs or whatever, and he might know the rudimentaries of it. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't really want to trust my electrical power to a plumber.
Very good.
Very good example. Reverend Doti Boon, can you please tell us about your fabulous church that welcomes everyone, and it's very inclusive, and I think what you're doing is just, I don't know if I want to say it's unique, but it's not something that I've heard of before having met you.
Oh, really? Yeah, there's quite a few of this type of church springing up because we are in a country of diversity. And when we are so diverse and we're doing so many different things, we want people to realize that whatever you call the creator, the divine, God, whatever you call this being, you're welcome in a church that is going to help you, not tell you that you're wrong. And that's one of the things at our church that we have, is we have just about every religion you've ever heard of that people were raised in or are looking into. And they come to our church and we talk about all the various religions and how wonderful they are, because every religion has a great beginning and a lot of great writing, wonderful prophet. So we talk about Jesus Christ, we could talk about Muhammad, we talk about a lot of Moses, a lot of the Old Testament prophets, and let people know that each one comes with a message. And that message is going to appeal to you differently than that message is going to appeal to somebody else. So we talk about everybody. Around the end of December is pretty exciting when we have Rosh Hashanah and we have Christmas and we have, all of the celebrations of the goddess all coming together all at the same time. And we're talking about them all. And that's what we do. Every week we have a service that's discussing some aspect of religion and bring it together into a complete, it's kind of like a salad. We have all these wonderful, great energies that come together. And then they all mix and you get the flavor of all the different energies.
And if you want to keep on the food analogy, is think of a potluck. Everybody brings their ethnic food they love, or their mother's favorite recipe they love, or whatever the reason is they brought that food. It will be different from the same Caesar salad that Joe brought and I brought. I like croutons. Maybe he hates croutons. But that's what CCL does, is it brings everybody together and says, we will meet you wherever you are on that day, because every day changes and that type of stuff. And, whenever you're ready, Dr. Jacalyn, but Dottie, Corky, and I talked about that. I really want Dottie to talk about the spiritualness of, because I had a client, I'm going to call her a client. It didn't work out because she felt that what I do is against her religion. And so Dottie is really the qualified person I said, this is perfect, because I really want to address this, because I honor that. And we decided not to work together because it wasn't a good fit, because she couldn't move past that. And I said, I have no problem with that at all. So Dot, can you elaborate how you deal with this, or what you feel, just your years and years of expertise, especially as a pastor?
Well, what happens for me, I believe everybody has intuition, and that the intuition is something we're born with. And what I get is that the wonderful ancestors that go all the way back to almost to Neanderthal, that they had this beautiful instinct or intuition or awareness of the unseen, and that kept them safe, and that kept them not being always torn apart by a wild animal. It helped them find food, it helped them find a mate. And as we've progressed and civilized, a lot of people have kind of said, I don't feel anything. I'm not intuitive. Well, you are. And this is the thing I want to talk about is when you look at religion and you look at what psychics do, think of it, a psychic is somebody who hears and sees and feels things that you don't, but you could. If you just let go of that feeling that it's bad or it's wrong and realize each one of us has an intuitive part of us. And quite often you talk to a 2-year-old and they're seeing and hearing things you aren't. And they're all excited about it. And what you do is say, oh, no, that's wrong, or that's bad, or that's not true. And they shut down. And if they don't shut down then, they start shutting down around 9 years old. Because about 9, we are starting to hear the voice in our head that says, you're not supposed to take the money out of your mother's purse. Tell them that you went to the Sunday school, even if you didn't. And you're hearing a little voice that's giving you different information. And sometimes you go, I don't want to hear that little voice anymore. And you shut it down. So what I do is I help people open up that voice, that intuitiveness, so that they can start following that simple way that they were born, that the Creator gave us this ability. We just shut it down because we don't want to hear it anymore. So when you think of it that way, I'm not in league with any kind of demonic anything. I would shudder to even think of that. My whole identity has to do with the divine, the Creator. And the energy that I receive is the same energy that everybody else receives. For me, at 5 years old, I started really working with it. I had a spirit guide I talked to, and each one of you comes in with whether you call it a guardian angel or a helper or a spirit guide. It's not like we were put here all by ourselves. And what I found from my guidance is that this little energy that you have, you got when you were in the womb. I mean, this didn't wait until you were 16 to join you. This is something you were born with. And everybody has this energy. Now, if someone says, well, that's bad or that's wrong, remind them that every religion has that guardian angel energy, or that energy of, it could be Christ working through you. It could be the sonnets that you read that really feed you. We all have something that helps us get in touch with that inner specialness of us, and as I call your intuition. I can't hear you.
Yay! Finally, she had a blooper. I love it. Sorry, I'm too excited about you being human.
Yes, I definitely make mistakes, that is for sure. But I wanted to say, Reverend Dottie, you bring up a lot of really good points. We need to take a break, but when we come back, I want to touch on the fact that throughout the course of my life, I have definitely met people who only believe in God, and God is a certain way in their mind. Right. And they don't believe in psychics, and they think psychics are woo-hoo and all this other stuff. And I would say to them, well, you can't see God, right? You feel God, you believe God. So how do you know these other entities or other names that people like? Why is that so hard to believe? And then, of course, you get into a big argument, but no argument.
I don't get into a big argument.
So they want to argue.
We'll talk about that. Okay, take your break and we'll talk about it.
Okay. We'll be right back. Stay with us on Presenting Pet Psychic Aminah. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back. We are so happy to have you on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah and Reverend Doti Boon. Well, we were having I think a fairly interesting conversation, and I don't know if we want to continue on the path about other, people being so single-minded, thinking there's one creator and there's nothing else out there, and spirituality is a bunch of hoo-ha, or want to go into a different topic?
That one's great, because I think when you said, well, sometimes you want to argue, you don't want to argue with people. It's what I found, especially over the last political situation that was going on last year, because people have their mind made up, and I've never found that arguing with anybody changed their mind. So what I do when somebody says, well, this is the way it is, and I say, thank you for sharing that. Because for me, it's a way of learning who that person really is. And if I decide I want to make my point be heard, I can't hear their side of it. And quite often, if you get deeper, you find, like talking to people who are in recovery, and the way they stopped using or drinking was through a belief in, it doesn't make any difference in what the belief was in, just that it represented to them a way to change their life. And that's the important part, not who they followed. Okay. And so for me, I always learn something when somebody comes up that has a different opinion. And I think that's the way you do it. In a spiritual way, for me, is spiritual means that I don't follow just one particular voice. I listen to all the voices, because we're all children of God. Just because you follow a different path doesn't mean you're lost, but it also doesn't mean you're found. It means you're on a different path, and that God loves us all, just like parents love their kids. Sometimes as a parent, you feel a little bit distance from that child, but there's still that love that you carry. And that's the way I feel when I talk about God, Creator, whatever title that you like, is that unseen force that is always there to help us.
That is so true. That is so true, Dottie, and that's why it's so important. I hope everybody joins us every. I think we're on the second Friday. I'm hoping Dottie will stay with us and join us, and we're going to continue bringing up topics. But we want to answer your questions. And I know for my social media, you'll find the phone number, you'll find the email, and Dottie, you and I have had, you've really taken me on an amazing journey. I got my notice to go public when I was in Los Angeles, and moved back here and found your organization for the support I needed to go, what the heck am I doing? For me, the equation is, what's it like to be blonde or white? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I haven't been anything else. I can't talk on those topics. So it's the same thing when people say, what's it like to be a pet psychic? I don't know. I've always heard them. It's like asking me what's like to talk to people. Well, they start doing this and I start doing this, and that's, and it's trying to explain that. So I've had to learn that language. When you come to a place and to an organization like Donnie's place, Center for Creative Living, it is open. Now we're doing digital, we're being on YouTube, and you can come up and catch up on all the different topics. The plethora of guests and people you have in the church and you have access to is just phenomenal. We have every color, I hope, and every ethnicity, and male and female, and every walk of life is welcome. So you've really put together an amazing group of people, not like you went out and farmed them. They came to you because you put out that energy. And that's what I want to honor, is that not only do you do private readings, and like me, we can do this from our kitchen table with a phone call or a video, and anybody in the world. It's not needing to be face-to-face with people. We need that energy. We just need to hear your voice. And I was really lucky to have people that I met through your organization, Dottie, that explained to me. They kept saying, well, you realize you're an empath, right? And I went, no, I didn't. No wonder I always want to hear how you feel, because I can hear the tone. I can hear the energy. Why is it easy for me to talk to animals? Well, they don't speak English. They kind of bark and growl, but I hear the energy that comes with that. I hear and feel what's going on, and give people a lot more depth. I deal with end of life. Dottie's an expert at end of life. And I
do have a question in reference to end of life. So some people believe that after they pass away, they come back as something else, or maybe they've already been here. What are your thoughts on that?
You have a choice. It's like you've been in a bad marriage. Some people, you're never going to get married again. Other people go, I'm going to give up on that, but I'm going to find somebody that's perfect next time. The same thing. You leave this lifetime and you have a chance because to think about it. And do I want to go back and try again? Or am I just content to stay here? So it's all about choice. There's so much of life, death, spirit. All of that is choice. We seem to give up and say, well, whatever's going to happen. You always have a choice. The one thing that people don't seem to realize is when you leave this body, when you go into spirit, you're energy. You're an energy form. So your body's not there. So when somebody says, well, I don't know, how do they look now? I say, well, they're energy. And they say, well, you can't see energy. I said, yes, you can. Turn on your light in your kitchen. That's energy. And so quite often when you feel somebody, you're feeling their energy. And for some people, they're intuitive enough. So they feel the energy, but they also see the body that they used to have. That comes to them. Okay, so that's what happens there.
So I have a question about that. So in other words, if you believe that you can come back, you're going to come back, then that's a big part of it.
Oh yes, that if you want to, and a lot of times people don't want to. Somebody will say, well, when's my son's going to come back? He doesn't want to. It was not fun here. I find this especially with suicides. They either want to come back and do it right the next time, or they say, I don't ever want to go there again. And so that's a very, very interesting energy that they put up.
I love that you cemented free will. It is not, just given politically or on this plane. Animals have it, people have it, plants have it. It's just, there's so much out there that people are missing, that the world is very much in tune to what is happening and going on and that type of stuff. So look at nature. I mean, it's so amazing to just watch a flower come up and go down and redo it again and again and spread their love and their joy. And they just do it because they know. They just do. They don't have to think about it.
I want to talk to Jacalyn about this. As you say that with your plants, you can talk to them. Try listening.
Oh, that's the best.
It's amazing. With plants, with animals, with anything. And that's what I'm going to be doing my talk on Sunday about, is that everybody's intuitive. But for some reason, we've shut it off at a very early age. We either got scared, something happened. And to open up intuitively so you can hear what people are thinking. You can sense something. Everybody I know is at some time been at a light ready to pull out, and so goes, oh my gosh, that guy's going to go through the red light. Where did you get that feeling from? That's intuition.
Mm-hmm. Dottie, I want to let you know, I did listen to Daphne, and she told me she didn't like where she was.
So did you move her? Yeah.
And I tried a couple of different places, and then we found the one that she likes now. So
there you go.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, before you realized you could do that, you'd think it was crazy.
Right. Exactly.
Proof in the actions. Proof. Right. Just a little bit of trust, just like what Dottie said. Just put a little bit of trust of going, what's the worst could happen? Nothing gets better. Right.
Right.
Okay, well, we're already there doing nothing.
I love your point, Aminah, about how the flowers just come back every year. Like, we don't even think about it. It just, they go down, then they come back. Then the bugs, like, where were the bugs? And then all of a sudden they come back. And
right. Yeah.
As soon as you're wearing a short sleeve shirt or short pants and you're in mosquito country, man, they're there because you're a carnivore and you're walking through with the dinner, and there it goes. And it's really true in Alaska. They're huge. They leave huge bites.
But you can talk to them.
Yep.
You can put out your energy and say, thank you very much for visiting, but now I'm ready for you to go away.
Exactly.
I do talk to bees a lot because I'm afraid of bees. I don't want to be stung. And I will say, hey, guy, is it a guy? I don't. Are you guy?
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Can you please go somewhere else? I'm not going to swat you. I'm just going to sit here calmly. I'm really asking you if you. And sometimes they might land and just, hey, I'm just looking around. Like, okay.
They're resting. They're resting. Just know that it's a very calm, loving thing. But they find that you're safe, you're secure, and just think about it this way. Let me make it really pedestrian. Do you like food? Because that girl is creating every single thing starts with that honeybee. And that girl doing all that work, she'll fly out as far as 5 miles and come back just to make you some food. And it's all a chain reaction because we're all interconnected. Just what Dottie just said, we're all interconnected. And I write articles about this constantly, and I wish I could put a banner out. If you want to be about honeybees and be the safest, be around them when they're swarming.
I remember you said
completely counterintuitive to everything everybody puts out. Oh my God, there's 3,000 of them. They're just moving. And the queen is in the center, and they've already platted out. They'll go up to 5 miles out every day, but they'll also move her. So she's left another new queen coming in the hive that she's left, and they've all moved. So they're protecting her. But guess what? Once in a while, you gotta take a potty rest or a there's not a, what is that truck stop thing on the freeway? A rest stop. That's what I'm looking for. So they're up on the side of the building or on a sign or something to just breathe and then go, okay, let's go some more. Call a beekeeper. They'll be thrilled because we all want to keep eating. Stop using pesticides. You're killing life. And these girls are really where we're being fed from. Love them back. Just love them back. They'll stay away from you because they die when they sting you. That is not the first go-to. They will only sting you when they feel threatened.
Good to know.
Yep.
Reverend, were you going to say something?
Oh, no, I once walked into a swarm, and they did sting me.
Because they saw you as a threat.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the only time. I mean, I didn't want to get stung again, but that was amazing. I just walked through right behind the bee truck, and they were swarming, and 22 stings later, better walk.
Some people use that as therapy.
Yes.
Were you screaming and yelling, or were you just calm? How did you react?
I wasn't screaming and yelling as much as I was heading for a little tiny market that was owned by these wonderful gay guys, and they were screaming and yelling. I looked awful with all these things and everything else. They took away all of my fear. I had to calm them down.
It's really terrible when the injured person has to take care of everybody else.
Well, you figured that was in the 50s. So that was unusual to have a couple of gay men that were able to experience being out in a little tiny desert California town. And but I was always so impressed by the fact that they weren't much help, but they sure they were trying to.
Yes, don't scream.
One thing I've learned from you also, Aminah, is, and I like to go for walks when I have time. I walk 7 or 8 miles on a Saturday and then a Sunday. I don't wear any perfume because that draws things to you, and I wasn't really thinking about that. So we had another.
And let me expand on that. So thank you for bringing that up. It's such a safety thing, because I really want everybody to go out and enjoy nature, because hopefully you'll protect it when you fall in love. But don't wear lotion with perfume. Don't wear body oil with perfume. Don't put any of this stuff on at all. Hairspray has a scent. You're creating, first of all, you're a walking toxic mess unless you're doing it all organic or that kind of stuff. But you're attracting the wrong thing. You could offend them to the point where they're thinking, oh my gosh, this is danger, and that kind of stuff. So try to go with no scented products if you can when you go out on hikes, like sunscreen and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Good point. We need to take another break and hear from some more of our sponsors. So we'll be right back. Stay with us. All right.
The music, services, and programs that we offer at Listening to Smile are based off of scientific studies and research. along with our own personal experiences and testimonials from our clients and our affiliates that we work with worldwide. My own personal journey began in around 2010, and I tried to find relief from a chronic illness that I was diagnosed with. And the traditional ways of healing, they tried to fit me in this box, and that didn't work for me for so many reasons. And this led me to a self-discovery that I never expected to be so life-changing. Healing is multifaceted. It requires us to really look at our whole selves and to get really honest about what we see. I started to see movement towards recovery when I started to integrate yoga into my life daily. When I started to incorporate the music into all aspects of my life, including my yoga practice, my healing completely accelerated. And listening to Smile's music helped me to open my consciousness. I was able to open my eyes to new perspectives and make changes that I needed to make in order to recover. The most noticeable difference that I saw right away, like immediately after listening to my first frequency track, was how much my anxiety stopped, completely stopped. There was such a relief. My mind was actually quiet for the first time in so many years. I felt safe. I felt this comfort and this peace immediately. I continued to listen daily, and I found that amazing things were happening inside of me. I felt calmer, I felt happier. I felt like I was in this little bubble of peace. Physically, I started to see the changes happening. I started to see the things happening in my body that needed to happen for me to heal from my illness. I felt empowered, I felt hopeful, and something that I hadn't felt in years. This is why we at Listening to Smile integrate yoga and Listening to Smile music together. We see such a huge benefit from integrating the music into other modalities of healing. It accelerates these modalities, it steps them up to another level because it works on the brainwave states and the neural pathways in the brain. This is something that is not very easy for us to do alone at home, but the Listening to Smile music makes that possible. This is where real change happens. This is where the body and the mind sync up and work towards health of the being as a whole. That is true health. And Listening to Smile frequency music will get you there.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Happy Friday and welcome back. You're watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Pet Psychic Aminah and our guest, Reverend Doti Boon. We're in the final segment of our show, so if you happen to miss anything, not now, but afterwards, please go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe to Dr. Jacalyn LLC.
Doti, I want to make sure that we cover anything that you're interested. I know we shared a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you're at, what you're working on, anything.
Oh, just so many different things. When I was talking about intuition, as I said, that's going to be my sermon this coming Sunday, is talking about how to open up your intuition. And one of the things I'm going to do during the church service is I'm going to think of a color and have people tell me what color they picked up on, because that's one of the ways that you become aware that your intuitive energy is not something you just see, but feel, but hear, but know, and that everybody has that. And I think that's the one message this month is that I have out there, is to help people increase their intuition and their ability to understand other people. The more you get into your intuition, the more you're going to find what is happening with other people, because you're going to feel them. You're going to not just see them and hear them, but you're absolutely going to start feeling them. we need to get rid of the dissent we have in the country and the world. And I feel that getting in touch with other people by knowing them better is really what helps. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. That's kind of my platform that's going on right now.
And that's so exciting. So again, if anybody really wants to know where it is, I put up a link, and hopefully Dr. Jacalyn is working on putting that in. We've got the Center for Creative Living UCM.org, and that you can find out there. That is the website for Doti's, not only if you're looking to talk to somebody who's passed. Doti does readings all the time. She can give you costs and all that. It is on this website, but it's also about the church. You can reach out to them. They're on Meetup. And of course, YouTube, where I found Dr. Jacalyn is there. I am there. Doti Boon is there. You want to know anything about the three most fabulous people, because of course I'm in there too, and so many other things, Dr. Jacalyn. Again, it's that rabbit hole of, oh my gosh, I didn't see that. Okay, I'll watch 15 minutes now. I'll watch 10 minutes now. And you might see me pop up on things, like I was on LinkedIn the other day, and I popped up and watched your show for a while, and then it's like, I got to go answer that client call. So it's just a plethora of lovely, wonderful topics. I want to encourage everybody. Again, if you want to find all three of us, go to YouTube. We're all three there and active, and you'll get to hear us live doing all the things we're doing. I always ask, if you want to know something about animals, I am big on natural restoration. I talked about the honeybees. I talk about bears the same. I just put a video out about feeding wildlife. So I hope you go and see it, because you're getting them killed. Let me leave you with that note, and go see the video, and you'll see why feeding the wildlife is not always the best thing for the wildlife.
I'm going to tell us where we can find that.
Bridging Worlds on YouTube. Everything. Again, for me also, if you go to bridgingworlds.us, all the links are there to all these other platforms. You are there, Dr. Jacalyn. CCL's mentioned there, because I've done many talks for them. All of this, CCL, the same thing, the Center for Creative Living, acronym CCL. Everything you want to know about them is on their Facebook or on their website. So you only have to find one link to find all the others.
And I have to tell you how many times I hear your voice, Bridging Worlds.
Every time you hear somebody said, I went over the bridge, I know worlds. I know worlds about bridges.
Well, you know what it is? One of the clips that I played at the first break, Reverend Ralph Graves, he has a book called Unstoppable. And anytime you talk to him, he brings up unstoppable. And I realized what gets repeated gets remembered, right? So it's just like with Bridging Worlds. Bridging Worlds. I remember that. So.
Well, and you should see when I was trying to come up with a name. It's like, what do? You do this, do that. Because I'm not just a pet psychic. It would be like asking Doti said, oh, okay, so she just talks to dead people. It's like, no, that ain't even not a thimble full of what Doti offers and what she can counsel you with and how she's helped us. Because being a pastor, you're listening to everything. But she's also dealing with all that life brings us, whatever that is. And the Center for Creative Living is a mirror of that, of the people that attend and go there. And now you can do it you go to YouTube, you can see absolutely years of services, because they've been recording them for a long time, because a lot of people are not able to drive, come over to CCL physically. And so for them, they have been recording them for years. And you can enjoy all of our stuff, your stuff, Dr. Jacalyn, myself, we're all there. And I loved being able to share with some of my guests that have come. They're like, I need the video. And I just send them your YouTube link with their video attached. And they're like, oh, that was easy. I know.
You know what's really interesting? I want to share this with both of you. It's a little off topic, but it's right on topic with YouTube. I've hired a PR firm, and we spent an hour and 15 minutes, just a crash course on YouTube. It is extremely complicated. There's a whole algorithm that changes all of the time. Wow. And so what I found out is everything I'm doing on YouTube is completely wrong. Completely wrong. And so I have to, and again, this is the point of working with coaches or working with other people. So the company that I've hired, they're experts in this because they have their own channel and they have some of their posts get millions of views. And so anyway, I'll share with you guys what I learned because I think it's a beast, as they say.
Absolutely.
So I have
Absolutely.
5 pages of homework.
Did you want to share the name of that group with us?
Sure. It's Roar Media, ROAR Media. And they're actually out of the UK. I've hired them to do my branding, my marketing, and public relations, social media. They're doing all of it. So, but the funny thing is, Reverend and Aminah, I hired other people to help me with social media, and never did they tell me one thing that I was told today. Like one thing I'll share with you is when you do your thumbnail, my thumbnails, I have all of this, Pet Psychic Aminah featuring, no, none of, all of it gets taken away. They want the algorithm and the bots and whatever they use want big pictures instead of smaller pictures, and less than 1/3 of the content should be text. And the text falls into keywords. So for example, you use the word plumber. Okay, so plumber is a word that a lot of people are going to search for if they need a plumber. But maybe you want 24-hour plumbing. Okay, so that's going to make it even a little bit more specific. And then maybe you want 24-hour plumbing / handyman. So that breaks it down. So as you try to take the funnel of information and narrow it down to what it is that you offer, you have to come up with keywords that are really in alignment with you and your branding. And believe me, this was just a crash course. I have to come up with 100 words that are, and you guys can do the same thing. You come up with 100 words that would apply to you and your brand. That's like the first step. So I hope that helps.
Well, and then you get out the good old dictionary.
Yeah.
Because that's how I came up with Bridging Worlds. I went with concept of definition, just what you're talking about. You're putting ads out. So what do? I do this, and you come up with a group of words. Look them up. Get out the dictionary. Now it's digital.
There's actually a website. I didn't get this far yet, but there's a website that'll tell you what the hot words are for that day, for that week. And so anyway, there's a way to make money from YouTube, but they change the algorithm all the time. So where I'm going with that is everything I'm now going to be posting is going to look completely different.
Wow.
More homework for me. Thank you.
Because we were bored already.
Well,
I want to make sure everybody knows Doti is coming back. And now that we're advertising even more, second Friday, bring your questions, bring your anything dead or alive, not bodies, but theories or questions, because it's really fascinating for those of us who see death and talk to people that have passed. I talk about dead things all the time because it's like saying, oh, well, I went to the beach. Well, yeah, if I've seen the beach. So there's no fear because there shouldn't be, right, Doti? This is a loving place. It's just another place.
Exactly. And the fact that if you can hear from somebody from the other side and you know that they're actually talking to you, it's so important because you don't feel you've completely lost them. You just feel they've gone into a room next door. And that is so amazing what it does. It brings you solace, but also it brings you a feeling that when you leave, you are going to be together. There is a whole bunch of emotions wrapped up in that when you're talking to somebody that the person is missing and grieving. So, yeah,
absolutely. And Doti, I hope you will pick that as one of your topics is talking about grief, because it can be a positive thing and it can be a clearing thing and it can be something you need to go through. And I really want you're the expert, and I would love to hear you talk about grief in one of your talks.
We have so many experts because the Center for Living with Dying also is connected with our center. And those people have been trained on how to handle grief. And one of our ministers is the Reverend Janet Childs, whose birthday is today. So
yay! I'll drop our line. Yeah. And we'll have Janet back. That we've been working on that, and for that very reason. So thanks for bringing that up again. It's just amazing the resources that you have on speed dial in your little mind. So thank you. That's really great.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you again. We are actually at the end of our show, and we've got another show coming up, and it's called Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And my guest is Pet Psychic Aminah. So stay tuned for that.
I'm not going anywhere.
Quickly, before we go away, please, happy Pride Month.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dottie. Look forward to seeing you.
Bye. Thanks, Corky. Bye-bye. Bye. Well, that was a great show. Thank you so much for inviting her back. And you and I are going to see each other in half an hour. I'm just going to put up your information, Bridging Worlds, but tell us again how to reach you.
bridgingworlds.us. Everything is there. Names, numbers, cost, my story. I actually updated the website recently, so it's all brand new.
All right, beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, my friend. I will see you shortly.
Absolutely.
Everyone, I just want to thank you. We've had a great day of programming so far. Actually, the next show will be our last show, the variety show. Our guest has canceled, and I could have easily found someone else, but I decided to give myself a break because it's been a long week of programming, which I love. I do want to offer everyone a free copy of my ebook, which is, and we won't be able to see it in this way, but it's behind the green screen. I also have a visual of it. So we hit number one bestseller status. And because I'm here by myself, I decided to go out and celebrate, but I remind myself, June 4th, 2021, best-selling author at 4:50 p.m. on Amazon. So I started writing my book in February, published it May 22nd, made bestseller at June the 4th. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'd love to provide you with a free copy of my ebook if you want to read my story. It's my journey of how I left the corporate world, and it's not what you would think. And then how I started this broadcasting platform, which really started with a telephone and a radio station and being interviewed. From there, we went to Zoom with one show and broadcast engineer taking us out. And now we have 18 shows, and I'm doing all the broadcasting, all the directing, all the producing, all the scheduling, and it's just a blast. So it's a true gift. And if you're interested, I'll put up the banner. Again, you can just go to Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com if you would like to have a free ebook. So, of course, I can't find it. It's here. Here it is. Just go ahead and email Jacalyn at drjacalyn.com and ask me for a free copy of my ebook. I'm more than happy to provide it. Okay. Thank you again for being here. Stay tuned. Aminah and I will be back shortly with stories of hope, inspiration, and overcoming adversity. Thank you. Bye, Reverend Dottie.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.